I think that when you're working strictly over the phone, it can be real daunting to continuously sit at the same chair, the same desk, and do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And so I just am really hopeful that today you guys either get encouraged to start diving into the mortgage protection world, or you just get encouraged to get out into the field. Because a lot of times, a lot of us just need to change up our approach, or critique a little bit of our approach, just so you can do something new. Completely doing something over and over and over and over and over and expecting to get different results is what they call insanity, right? So if it's not working for you, or you don't feel like you're taking steps forward, then I challenge you to get out into the field. I challenge you to go out there and door knock. I challenge you to get a different lead source, or to try something different. Just don't get complacent, because it's real easy to get comfortable in this business and just do, what it takes to make ends meet, rather than just trying to really stack your bank account and stack your activity, and ultimately improve the way that you are looking at your business. But without further ado, you guys, if we can just get a quick introduction. I know a lot of you guys know who these two are, but maybe you don't know their background or what they did before this. Neither of them were in insurance before they started working with us. So Valdo, you're unmuted. You can go first. And then Beto, if you want to just follow, and we'll just go in that order. When I ask a question, Valdo, you can go first. Beto, you can go second.
Cool. Sounds good. Where do you want to start?
Just a little bit about you, man. Like, what were you doing before this? How long have you been doing it now? You're not brand new. You're not even new. Just a little bit about what you were doing before this, how long you've been doing it, and then we'll let Beto share, just so people can get an idea of your background and maybe you're relatable to one person on here.
Cool. Before I did insurance, actually, yeah, before I did insurance, I worked at a software company. I was like a management person for like a software data team. I just pretty much told people like who to call, what to do. Wasn't really, it's a pretty easy job. I didn't like my boss. I didn't like people I worked with. It wasn't very fun. I actually got in the business from our practice company. That's where we met. I think we were there for maybe about a year, or I was maybe like 9 months. Then we made the transition over here to Safe Haven.
So yeah,
And
you had 2 years now?
in November.
November.
Yeah,
Love
November, 2 years, man. It went by so fast. First
it.
year took forever, but the second year was like a snap. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it
Um,
flies by quick.
it does. And then, I've been Safe Haven. I did telesales through my whole career. I think all the way up until like, I'd say probably December of last year, maybe November. I was doing telesales, like completely only telesales. I think I went in home for like the first 3 months, but I
Remember
didn't like it. Yeah,
that.
I didn't like it. It was crazy. And then so we found telesales. We found a good lead source. We found a dialer. We found all this stuff. It worked really well. We duplicated it a lot of times. But it's very, like you said, it's very over and over. I don't like that. I remember one time specifically, this guy, he hung up on me as soon as I got to the social. And I was like, man, if I was in home, he's not hanging up on me. Like, I'm getting this. So that's what made me switch to go in home. So I went in home, final expense, always final expense. I probably did that for like 3 or 4 months, but the area I was in, the Google leads just were so oversaturated. So I was getting like the same leads. I was like, dude, I literally put in a lead order and I got the same lead order that I just got. So I'm like, dude, I need to figure something else out. So that's when I hopped in the mortgage game, probably I'd say like in March. I think I bought like 30 or 40 leads. I think I set like 4 or 5 appointments. I closed like 2 or 3 of them without even trying. So I was like, all right, I'm doing mortgage. And ever since then, I've just been buying the age leads. I bought some fresh ones a few times, had good luck with those. But yeah, that's really it very quickly,
Yeah, no,
very
no,
quick.
we'll dive into the meat and potatoes here in a second. I just want to give everyone just a quick introduction of, maybe they don't know who you guys are, or just relatability, or where you came from. So I appreciate you sharing. Beto, if you want to just do the same thing, man, how long have you been with us now? I know it's not been a short period of time. And then also just what you did before this, and You had a unique way of getting into the business. If you want to just kind of touch about that too, as well.
Yeah, I was so I've been about close to a year and about to be like a year and a half. I was strictly all telesales as well, but I came from like warehouse and office work. I was behind a computer, kind of had not really my own schedule, but didn't have like a boss or anybody around. So it was cool, it was easy. Um, was just going over like doing a bunch of plans for like security systems and big warehouses. So I did that for a while. Got introduced to it from a previous partner. Um, was kind of challenged that I couldn't pass the test. So, and I am, if someone kind of tells me not to do something, especially when it comes competitive wise, I will obviously do it. Um, and then so I did pass my test. Was watching a bunch of videos, kind of just seeing like what the whole practice company was about. Those videos. Actually got COVID, so I scheduled my appointment. Should have went to the appointment because I had COVID, but regardless, went, took my test, passed it, and then they wanted me to go back to work. And I told them like I haven't been off of work for like a week yet. They kept hounding me, so I just said, "This is it." So I literally just gave them my 2 weeks. Just kind of went all 10 toes in,
And
and yeah,
when
just
you say you watched videos, like realistically, if you had to take a guess, man, like how many hours worth of videos do you think you watched? Because I think that was a key part of why you came out the gate swinging.
I to put it into hours, I it was a lot. Like I was watching them at work. When I first went to the office in Chico, like I already had a notepad full of objections. I had my own script already, like printed out with like stuff. I had notepads of like just of the objections I heard were all in the training videos that mostly people came across by. Just goals, like sell a first policy, do this in a certain month. And yeah, it's kind of weird because I still have that notepad and all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to still look at. But yeah, it was definitely countless of hours. Um,
I mean, if you
like I
had to
said,
realistically put a number on it, because I want people to hear it, because it's not 10 or 20.
I was
Like,
watching I was watching at least because like I said, I would go in there in the morning and I had no boss or manager and they wouldn't really start picking up till like 10. So I was from anywhere from like 6 to 9 every morning. I was watching videos and then obviously when I got home, I would watch more videos. So on average day, probably like 4 to 5 hours of videos.
and no one told you to do that, right?
No,
That was your own obsession. That was your own self thought that I need to learn this because I want to make this work. Or what made you do that? Because some people, they don't have that intrinsically to just get obsessed with this. But I think that that trait is a lot of times the difference between someone who is excelling at this versus someone who's limping through this.
I think I just saw like what it could do. And that's when I was kind of like, man, this is not what I want to do. And I saw what this opportunity could do. So I think that's what I got obsessed with was what it could do for you, what it has done for previous people. So that's what really got me obsessed. And I just, well, when you put your 2 weeks notice and you COVID, you're definitely gonna watch a lot more hours of videos because you don't have anything else to fall back on. So
Yeah, and I'm glad you just shared that though, because it's something that you wanted for yourself. You wanted change in your life, and I think that a lot of us say we want change, but we don't do or make changes. We say it, but we don't do it. We want things to change, but we're not willing to put in the activity or the hours or the work, right, that it takes to change something. And I think that's a big mistake that people don't fully grasp is it's one thing to talk, it's another thing to walk. And you can talk, but if you don't walk, you might as well just go look for something different because this ain't easy. This, I mean, I think that
Mm-mm.
both of you two would agree that this ain't easy. This ain't built for the weak. You know what I mean? Like this, the weak-hearted, they get weeded out pretty quick. And the roller coaster of the emotions and the roller coaster of trying to be disciplined yourself is not easy by any means. But would you guys say it's worth it?
100%.
I mean, it's incredible to see in a very short period of time how drastically different that my life has turned. And it's been cool to also see you guys do the same exact thing. You know, I always know when it's Beto's little cousins or nephew's birthday because they get a fresh pair of Jordans. You
Every
know what I
time.
mean? Like, and it's not even that it's about materialistic things, but it's about being able to provide to your family with what you want to provide. You know, you're a sneakerhead, so of course that's what you're
Yeah.
gonna, share with your family. But I think that it has to start within, and I think the same thing for Valdo is it started within. I remember I think when I first started talking to you, you were working with your dad, weren't you? And you didn't want to follow your dad. You wanted to do your own thing. You wanted to have your own journey. You wanted to have your own path. You could have easily just hopped in with dad and just wrote out the business that way, but it wasn't fulfilling. And the challenge of this business, hindsight a lot of times is where the growth really happens in yourself, and you don't see it in the moment. Like I've been having a shit week, just moved here, all types of things coming left and right, but I understand that it's just a storm, and the storm is going to pass. And I think that that's what we all have to understand too, is that we're going to go through storms, we're going to go through seasons of this business, seasons of our lives, and you just got to ultimately be surrounded with people who will keep you going, because I think that's a big proponent to both of you guys, is that you've been immersed into our group and you want to win. You don't want to not be on the leaderboard. You don't want to not be putting in the work. And it's because I think that we ultimately have lashed arms with each other to want to see each other win. And it'd be weird if you're in a circle and you weren't working as hard as the next person. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're not even, you don't belong in this circle. And so that's where I say that, because I want you guys that are on this call in our circle, but you got to want to be in the circle. We can't want you to be in the circle. You got to be, doing what it takes to get inside of that. But really, I would like for you guys to just talk a little bit about your journey. Just take a couple minutes, talk about the ups and downs in when you were new up to now, where you're at today. Because a lot has happened in that 2 years, Valdo. A lot has happened in that year and a half. We've had change. We went to a different brokerage, obviously. That was a massive change. But really, if you can just kind of share about how, looking back at it, and where you're at today, and just talk about some of the maybe pitfalls or barriers that you ran into that you had to learn to either go through or around, or whatever direction that you had to take. Just talk about that a little bit, Alex. Like you said, you started out in the field, wasn't for you. So you got back into doing telesales. You did that for a minute. Like, you've always been putting in the work, but you've not always gotten the desired results you wanted. So if you can just kind of just share your journey for people who are still newer, people who may be a year into this business struggling, you just never know who you can hit about your journey. So if you can just talk about that a little bit, I think, and where you're at today compared to where you're at, when you first got started.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like before I got started, I mean, I was like confident in myself, but not like I'm pretty confident in my skills, what I could do. Like if I feel like I could do something, like I'm gonna get it done. Before I used to use a lot of words like maybe or if I can, or this kind of stuff. But now I'm just a lot more sure of myself, I guess. So that's really my journey, I guess, is personal growth. That's one of the reasons why I did this. I'm not naturally a outgoing person. I mean, if it's up to me, I'd talk to nobody. I'd be in my like corner chilling. Like I ain't talking to nobody. But that's like what growth is there. So before I did this, I actually did solar sales for like a summer, like 4 months. Just a terrible situation, or else I would have kept going. But I just had a bad upline, bad management. So it just wasn't a good situation, so I left. But I knew I wanted to do sales just because for solar, it's door to door. So I was literally door knocking in 100-degree weather, trying to just get people to buy solar, uh, and it really made me grow out of my shell. Um, so that's why I knew I wanted to do sales. I didn't want to do solar sales. I'm tired of being outside. I don't want to be outside all my life. So I was like, well, insurance, I could be in an office, I could be in people's homes. You know, I am still outside kind of, but not really. Um, so it's more the personal growth what I was looking for, and then also just the freedom. I naturally I don't like being told what to do. I have always had friction with authority, I guess you could say. Um, Not that I don't respect it, but the fact that when I want something to be read, I want it to be read. I don't want nobody telling what to do or how it is. When I think it should be this way, I think it should be. So the autonomy here is amazing, but it's also a curse. Um, I mean, depending the kind of person you are, it might not be easy to handle. So it was an adjustment for sure. I mean, it's still an adjustment. I mean, I'm still going through time management. I don't think I'm ever going to be perfect or anything like that. So it's a constant growth, constant struggle, constant battle. Um, but the biggest thing I could say is attitude, dude. Like, if my attitude's bad, dude. Just I mean, 3 weeks ago, I think I went like 2 weeks without a sale, 2 or 3 weeks without a sale. I kept getting appointments. I kept getting rescheduled, no show, dude. Everything happened to me. I think I called you about it. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what's going on. But it's my attitude. I changed my attitude, changed my way of thinking, and then it's just natural. Um, so
And, and it's
new,
natural. It's completely natural to go through that. I think like if you don't go through a little phase of like a couple days or a week or two where you're like, can I even sell an insurance policy ever
oh,
again? Do
facts.
I
It's like, dude, am
suck?
I even like,
Like,
was
yeah,
all those 200 some clients just all flukes? Like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like, my bad.
yeah.
Sorry for cursing, but,
No, no, you're good.
but yeah, I'm just like, man, like rethinking everything. And so you're going to have those bad days, weeks, whatever it is. And that's probably the longest I went. I mean, before maybe a few days, maybe a week. But dude, I think I went 2 weeks. I was like, bro, I think I set like 15, 20 appointments. Beto can even test for this. And like all of them no showed me. Like all of like I'm like, dude, like what? It's just the numbers. You know, I pick it back up, go hit the phones again, and I book 10, 15. It is what it is.
Yeah. And I think though a key point too, man, is like, you're call it 18 months, whatever it is, 20 months deep into this career, right? And you went a week or two, just not finding the results that you want. And so instead of just putting up the white towel or whatever, you called me and we talked it out, right? Like what's going on? Like that doesn't make, and just talk through this. And I think that I just wanted to highlight that because a lot of times we try to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expect to get different results. But a lot of times you just need to consult with somebody who's maybe just done it longer than you or been in your scenario before. I've been in this scenario before where like, I don't think I'm ever going to sell a policy again. Like everyone's telling me no, getting no showed. I got a couple chargebacks in this time frame. Like it feels like it's just raining down on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the one thing and just a tip here that I was always told by my old upline is that just listen to yourself. And that's why exactly what I told Valdo. I was like, you have no idea what your tonality is. Like we don't like me talking to you, it sounds different in my head than what it sounds like to you. So we have no idea actually what our tonality really sounds like, or if we're emphasizing or changing the tonality when we're saying certain things. And so the best way ever to really understand what's going on is to record yourself, whether it's recording yourself dialing, whether it's recording yourself in the home, because traditionally you're going to hear yourself already. Why the hell did I say that? Or why did my voice crackle when I said this? And a lot of times you can be your biggest biggest critic, but you can also be your biggest supporter at the same time and make some critiques, or send these recordings to the individual who hired you, or send them up the chain and have people listen. I mean, Jason is a prime example of that. He started sending out call recordings. You know, me and Jason had a probably hour-long phone call and just told him, I was like, dude, like, start sharing some of those call recordings to yourself. We're here to help. Leverage the group chats we're in, leverage the Slack channel that we're in. And he's been getting very valuable feedback. And he's been making progression. But a lot of times you can't just sit there and try to think that you're gonna change something without even hearing yourself, let alone allowing someone else to hear yourself. So I just wanted to point that out, because you know, he's almost 2 years deep into this, and sometimes your ego gets in the way where you don't want to reach up or reach out to somebody. But at the end of the day, you can't have a big business and a big ego. Like, it just doesn't align. And so you sometimes have to drop your guard down a bit and ask for the help. And there's no shame in asking for help. We've all been in scenarios where we didn't know what we're talking about. We've all been in scenarios where we didn't know what the hell we were doing. So it's not weird to ask for help. You're not dumb. I promise you. I am not very smart at all. I get pissed off if I can't figure out how to log into a damn portal. Like, I'm not that smart at all, you guys. And so I never thought I was dumb for asking a question. When I was new, yes. But then when I realized, when I'd ask a question and I get back feedback and I would apply whatever that feedback was and it worked, oh man, I got lifelines. I got 4 or 5 lifelines I can call up. Hey man, I'm having a shitty day. Could you help me out here? You know, and like, it's okay to be in that scenario, because you're not going to be good out the gate. You're not going to just crush it from day one. And if you do, you're an don't even know the word. You're an outlier, right? Because there can be people out there who do come out the gate swinging, like Beto. But the only reason that Beto came out the gate swinging is because he spent hours and hours and hours listening to other people finding success and inspiring him to want to learn more and to do better. We can inspire you to want to do better. That has to come from inside. We can't tell you to spend hours listening to other people talking about insurance. That's something that you have to decide to do. It's not anything that is impossible to do, you guys. It's really just time, energy, and effort. And if you're in a place where you don't feel comfortable with your bank account, if you don't feel comfortable with where you're at, I promise you, if you look at the amount of hours you're putting in, it's not enough. The big reality check that I had at our old company, the CEO of the company asked me, how much do you issue pay? What's the most you've ever issued pay? And I said 17,000. Some of you be like, damn, I wish I could do 17,000. I thought it was decent. He's like, how many hours do you think you're working? And it's not 40, be honest. And I was like, I don't know, 30 to 35 hours. He's like, more like 20 to 25. If you're working 40 hours a week, you'd be issue paying 20K a month. And it was a gut punch, because I was lying to myself. I was saying I was working 40 hours. I was having busy work that took hours and time, but it was a reality check I needed to hear, because I wasn't working 40 hours a week. I was spending probably 10 hours just dicking off doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, but considering that working, because I was sitting at a desk or I was out in the field, you know, on my phone or whatever the circumstance may be. But a lot of times what most of us aren't willing to do is to give up certain things that are time consuming, that aren't money making activities. And we have a challenge to give those things up for a short period of time to speed up your learning curve. And so a lot of times we can't stop doing certain things that aren't making us any money, and then we're continuing to spin the wheels, and now we're blaming the business, and we're blaming the leads, or we're blaming our upline that we're not successful. No, you're not successful because you're not putting in the work. I promise you that. It's that simple. It's hours. And what I mean by hours is money making activities, dials, door knocks, talk time, communication with people. That's hours. And even if you door knock for 5 hours and you don't even get in the door, but you had some conversation, that's work. You're putting in time, you're putting in energy, you're putting in effort. But if you sit behind a screen and say that you dial for 6 hours and you made $100, damn it, you're not dialing the fucking phone. That's not dialing the phone. I promise you. I'd never use no speed dialer, no whatever y'all got fancy little things. I could dial anywhere between $30 to $40 every single hour while booking appointments. So if you take that by 5 hours, by 6 hours, I always had 200 dials in a dial session. And so it's not that deep, you guys. And I'm just hitting on this because it's something that I see all the time from people that are saying that they're putting in the work, but they're not putting in the work. There's a difference from saying you're working and putting in the work. But I appreciate you sharing that, Alex, because the big thing I took away is confidence, man. I lacked so much confidence when I got started in this business. It was crazy, man. Someone would give me a compliment and I'd deflect it. What are you
Me
talking
too,
about?
fam. Me too.
Nope. Because I
Hey,
wasn't even accepting myself for who I was. I wasn't happy with who I was. I wasn't confident in who I was. But what this business has really done for me is made me challenge myself and to really get uncomfortable and grow into my truest form and my truest self. And I think that's what you've been experiencing as well, Valdo, is that you have breaking down some barriers mentally and personally and taking those steps forward and taking the necessary steps to really take it to the next level. So it's been cool to watch, and I appreciate you sharing your journey thus far. And Beto, if you can kind of just talk about the same. Yours was a little bit different. I know you came out, you were submitting applications, doing the damn thing, but it just kind of got to a point where you were spinning the wheels. You're waking up at 6 a.m. to start dialing by 7 a.m., dialing until 8 p.m. Just talk about those long dial days, those long hours you put in, and how that is correlated into you finding much better success in person and where you're at today.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been a person that like, dude, I'll work. I don't mind doing the work. Like, am I the best at the work? No, but I'll work my ass off. So I felt like if I could do that, just by dialing, I'm gonna get better regardless. So I mean, waking up at 6 because I was licensed in like 28 states. So I try to just hit as many dials as I can. And then just got to the point where I just started trying to find things that was gonna make it easier in this business. And there's nothing really that makes it easier. You can obviously get a dialer, you could do all that stuff. And I'm a type of person where like if I'm not working, it feels weird. Like I'm like, damn, dude, I got to do something. And I would try to obviously find something easier. Like, for
Healthy
instance, this past
paranoia.
yeah, so like this past week, I was like trying to get the mortgage lead. She was busy. She couldn't get back to me till Friday. And I was like, well, I'm only gonna have really till Saturday, Sunday to dial them. So then I'm like, this last week, I'm like, man, I gotta do something. Like I gotta do something. So obviously put the order in because I felt weird, like not dialing felt weird, not working. So probably went off track. But yeah, just kind of going back to just building that calluses and then just knowing what really works is, I mean, no one's gonna get the results that you want if you don't dial your own appointments, you don't pick up the phone and dial. So I think me obviously, waking up early 6 a.m. dialing all those hours kind of built the calluses, with the callus in. So that's easy to do. But for like the transition of me going in home now, it's like me giving me the double opportunity to resolve these leads. Like I'm not going to North Carolina, I'm not going to Mississippi, I'm not going there to, hey, resolve these leads. So I think that's what my transition was just if I can get another shot of transitioning these leads, um, getting out of the house, not sitting behind that computer. Um,
How
yeah, I
many
think that's
how
kind
many
of
hours a day would you say that there was a good amount of like a good period of time there where I mean you were dialing dude for I mean more than 8 hours a day. Can you
Yeah,
just talk about that?
I was down from like 6 to 12 and then like 2:30 to 8 our Pacific time. So that was like close to 10 to maybe 12 hours. And I was on there. I was on the Zoom. Like I can't,
Yep.
I'm not capping about that. So yeah,
No, man. And I wanted people to hear that because it's no, there's no, there, like you didn't just head fake yourself into success here. Like you put in the time, you put in the effort, you invested into your business, and it, not everyone will do that, but not everyone's going to live the life that you're going to live, and that's just the reality of the situation. But you can overcompensate for the lack of your skill with the activity that you put in. You don't have to have some crazy skill set right away. You can overcompensate that with activity. And I think you're a prime example of that. Were you killing it out the gates? Yeah, you were selling policies, but then you'd hit walls just like any of us. But I really think that you building those good habits, like now you have a healthy paranoia. You can ask Michaela, I have the same thing. Like if I'm not doing something or if I'm not talking with somebody or just doing something work related, I feel really weird, like really weird. It doesn't feel okay for me. And that only, we only experience that because of how much commitment and how many hours that we put into this business. You can sit back and not do shit and not feel anything about it
yep,
because you never built those good habits. You never built that work ethic that I've seen so many people come into this business, you guys, and I've worked with two guys. I'm going to leave them nameless, and they are not smart. Like not even like I have no idea how they sell so much insurance. I have no idea, but they're not on this call. You guys don't know them, but I have no idea other than the fact that they wake up at 5 in the morning, go out in the field and resolve their leads. Like that's the only like I promise you, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be some crazy, brilliant person. You can outwork other people is what I'm getting after. And that's what those two guys do. They write 40 to 50 to $60,000 of life insurance every single month, and they don't even know how to access a damn new e-app. Like that's how, as this business isn't difficult, you guys. If you don't have the brains, you can put in the work ethic. And I think I'm a prime example of that. I think Beto's a prime example of that as well, is where we put in the time, the energy and effort to get better, to get to where we're at. Like it wasn't like we just started out killing it at all. But I appreciate you ultimately sharing that because it's been a journey to get to where you're at, man. Long days, long hours, lots of ups and downs. And that's really what I want to segue to next is like, how important is it, Valdo, to really learn how to control your emotions and not ride the highs and not ride the lows? And we all struggle with that. I struggle with that. I think you struggle with that. I think Beto struggles with that. Like, how important is it? And do you have any tips or ways to try to help someone out there today get more in control of their emotions?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can do podcasts and audiobooks and all this kind of stuff. And I've done a lot of stuff like that to like, I mean, it really just comes down to like your attitude, really. I mean, it's like, um, attitude will kind of control your emotions, and kind of how you do in the business will control them too. If you're doing bad, I mean, I'm sure you're just not feeling too good. If you're doing good, you're probably feeling better than you should. So it's trying to find that medium, when you make a sale, be proud of it, but don't go partying, drinking, celebrating the next day. It's just there's a medium, and then of course, the lows. You got to understand. You said it, it's like a storm. Storms always pass. One might last a little longer than the next. Might be a little difficult, but you'll get over it. So just knowing that when you're down, I mean, at least helps me. Like if I'm down, like it's crazy. Like I'll be down on myself. And like the next day, you just have like 2 or 3 deposits. You're like, oh, well, I'm up now. It's just like, so I'm still trying to like figure out how to stay leveled out. I don't think it's something that you're gonna ever fully
No.
grasp, but just understanding. And I think most of it comes from financial. So if you're aware of that, putting a little bit of away after every deposit. I know we're not, I'm not trying to be anybody's financial advisor by any means, but that is one thing that helped me in the beginning before you're kind of just counting deposits and you're trying to like wait for the next one. When if you just put a little bit of away, I think we read that book 1%. I mean, even just start with 1% of every deposit, put it away for a rainy day. You don't know when will be there. Um, just having that little backup definitely makes things a little easier when you're not doing so well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, you guys. Like, if you're doing this business and you don't have two bank accounts, go get another bank account with your same bank. You got to separate your business from your personal. The Profit First book that we read is bank balance. What do they call it? Bank balance checking, or
Yeah, bank balance checking. You just look at your bank account and you're like, oh, well, I'm like decent,
and you
you're
and
not
you, and
actually
you
balancing
make
anything.
decisions. You make decisions based off of how that bank account looks.
True.
And I know that it gave me and Michaela a ton of clarity when we really separated the different bank accounts of different things that we got going. I'm not telling you guys to go open up a bunch of bank accounts, but what I'm definitely telling you guys is you want to separate where your deposits go and what your personal money is. And even to this day, I make $800 a week. $800 a week is what I pay myself. I don't pay myself $2,000 a week. I don't pay myself $4,000 a week. I pay myself the bare minimum. I legitimately have like $200 to $250 of disposable income. And it's just one of those things where I'm not to the point where I should be paying myself every single sale or every single deposit that I get. It's okay, what is my living expenses? What do I need to, what's the bare minimum that I have to make? And everything after that is green. You're in the profit. And I think that's another thing that a lot of people struggle with is you think that you have to just be rolling in dough from the jump. You're earning why wow, you're learning while you're earning is always the saying, right? And even if you break even and you say that wasn't a successful month, that's bullshit because I guarantee you 30 days ago, you're stronger than the person that you were today. So even if you paid your bills and you didn't make any money, your bills are paid and you're better. So now your skill set is worth more. Your time is worth more. So don't head fake yourself and think that you just have to be rolling in thousands and thousands of dollars from out the gate. It's okay. It felt like I had my credit card maxed out 9 to 10 months into this business. We wouldn't even be having this phone call. A lot of you wouldn't even be in this business if I would have quit. But I believed in it so much because I seen the thousands of other agents doing it. I promise you, some of these people on this call aren't better than you. They may look better than you, but they're not better than you. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where when I was very new in the business, first year in the business, I would see these YouTube videos. I would see these people at conferences that I go to, and I'm like, if that guy can do it, I can do this. You know what I mean? And it's not even trying to be an asshole. Sometimes you got to just tell yourself that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not even to throw shame on those guys I was telling you about, but I promise you, they're not very smart. They just outwork everybody else. And you can really do that in this business. So obviously you guys kind of shared along your guys' journey here, with us and working alongside with us. But the big transition I would say is how you guys went from over the phone to in person and how you went from working only final expense to working mortgage protection. Can you just talk about how that hard, Valdo? Were you nervous? Like, just talk a little bit about how that was, and then really the biggest impact that you've seen from doing only telesales, doing only final expense, and getting out in the field and working mortgage protection.
Honestly, I loved it. I mean, obviously, maybe my first appointment or two, I was a little nervous or something. But honestly, I just went into it not even thinking about it. I think I called you and you're like, hey, look, man, you're getting a presentation, like you're winning. Who cares if you sell it or not? Like you're here learning a new skill. So I'm like, man, all right, well, let me just go in here and just do what I do. And see if I make some sales. And I did. I mean, it's also a learning, something like learning something new. I enjoy. So it was actually fun for me. I loved it. I mean, I haven't thought about doing telesales since. So the transition for me was pretty easy. Like I said, though, I did have a little experience door knocking and kind of already going in home. So I'm kind of used to what it was. And it was actually even better because these mortgage clients are higher, just higher standard, just higher everything. You know, they have more
High quality.
income. Yeah, just better quality. So I'm used to going to trailer parks, sitting in like trailer parks, people smoking cigarettes and stuff, like dogs barking at you. But then you go in these homes and like you're in like gated communities and like nice places and stuff. So honestly, I was like, I'll do this all day. Like, you know, I'm not mad about it. So I enjoyed the transition. I liked it. Um, so I was never really like scared or uncomfortable about it. And then as far as business wise, I mean, like, I mean, final expense, it's awesome. I think it's a gateway. But if you're trying to build a book and build relationships and have a client relationship, I think mortgage is a little bit it. I mean, I could never imagine having a final expense client do a fully underwritten exam and then speak with me the whole way. Mortgage, I will. I've had many people literally took 2.5 months to get them coverage, but they were in touch with me the whole time, texting, emails, phone calls. So I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but generally the clients will just be a little bit more receptive, a little easier to work with, and your book will be a little stickier, just from what I've noticed.
Yep. And you're talking to people a lot of times about their biggest asset. Where when you're talking about people about their final expense, it's like how much do they love their daughter? How much do they love their husband? Or how much do they love, and that's the challenging part. We can't, make them love their family anymore. But when you're talking about your home and staying in your house, this beautiful home that took you years and years to maybe purchase, it's a very valuable thing to people. And I think that just the quality of the people, the quality of the conversations, and the quality of your business, it's a lot stickier, because you're talking to people who are actively working. You're talking to people who have a good enough credit score to get a house. So you're obviously not talking to people on Social Security, disability, and living check to check, whatever. You still can be in that scenario, but they have disposable income a lot of the time. So I appreciate you sharing that because I think that is a good point of, uh, if you like a challenge, it's a beautiful thing to transition into because it's fun. It's a fun challenge. It's fun to uh, have to try to learn something new, to me at least. So I appreciate you sharing. Beto, if you could just kind of talk about the same, you're a lot different. Valdo had a little bit of solar experience, door knocking, like you were in a warehouse behind a computer screen, and then you were started out your career behind a computer screen. So, and I know for a fact, last about a year ago, you went out in a home down in the Dallas area, and you're like, "Hey, man, this ain't it. Like this ain't it." So if you can kind of just talk about maybe any mental barriers you had to overcome, going out and door knocking and just going to people's homes, and then talk about how uh I guess just your mood and your attitude when you're out driving around doing your thing compared to just looking at that same computer screen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. Like, and I don't think if it wasn't for Medicare, I don't think I would ever do in home. So like kudos to Medicare for sure, because that was the first time I was in a home. But if it wasn't for that, I would have never done in homes because it still makes my hands sweat talking about it. But yeah, it's just you actually get a you I've always been kind of big, even when I did over the phone, and was kind of ask someone a tough question or kind of get their reaction or ask them something they don't like. So I feel like when you're in home, you can really see that. You can start really hitting on it. Or even when it came to Medicare, like people were so excited, people are mad. You can really read people's emotions. So that's how you can kind of just control like conversation. So I feel like that's really helped me a lot was being able to read people like I gotta get up out of here, man. They're gonna kick me out or so stuff like that. But definitely it's a definitely some fresh air because I mean I could dial for you know 6 hours not even have a presentation, mad as hell, got hung up on plenty of times, and I go to call the next person and I'm mad. Like this, you're gonna go drive, you're gonna the good thing about it too is you actually get to reflect. You're gonna reflect a lot. Um, you can walk up to the door, prep yourself. You had a bad interaction, it didn't go as planned. You can reach out, call somebody, hey, this happened, and it gives you that time to really reflect or listen to something, listen to the mortgage thing, that the in-home that you did. Like there's so much stuff you can do while you're driving to other houses, and just really think about it, and I guess kind of mentally prep yourself. Over the phone was, you're just dialing so much and you might not really be focused, and then someone could pick up the phone and then you try to talk and you're nervous, or they notice that. So you could really kind of prep yourself, and that's what I really like.
Yep. And pulling up to a house, they have no idea you're coming over, heart beating.
Every time.
It's natural though, you guys. Like it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be uncomfortable. But where the biggest growth moments happen is in those uncomfortable states. I remember when I was door knocking final expense leads and I'd pull up to the house, I'd even hit the block. I'm like, man, do I really want to hit this house? You know what I mean? Like just debating it. But no, man, I didn't drive 20 minutes over here,
Yeah.
30 minutes over. I didn't pay $25 or $30 for this lead, not to at least have a conversation with them. And so, getting out that car, having the heartbeat is really, really where those growth moments happen. And to me, you guys, where I struggled on was keeping people on the phone longer than 10 seconds or 15 seconds or 20 seconds. And you're not ever going to improve your communication skills in 10 to 15, 20 seconds. It's just, it's hard when you say, blah, 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 ding, and you get hung up on. But when you're at that door, you could have a minute long interaction. You can have a 3 minute long interaction. You can have a 10-minute or you can get inside and give a presentation. And so that's really where communication skills can get refined. That's really where communication skills can get improved, because they're going to come back at you and you get the opportunity to overcome an objection at the door, where maybe you didn't even get that objection. They just clicked on you over the phone. So I just challenge you guys who are maybe having troubles over the phone or with your communication skills to go out and door knock people and have longer conversations. Give yourself more opportunity to work on your communication skills and your confidence in what you're saying and what you're explaining.
Yeah,
But I
I
appreciate
would
you sharing that,
definitely,
man.
I would definitely recommend that, because I was for sure a person said that I would never door knock. I, I, I would literally say, "No, man, you could trip. I'm not door knocking. No way. Nope." And once I did it, and I was even like, Valdo was pretty much the one. He's like, "Bro, you just got to do it." And I was even
Yep.
like, "Nah, bro, nah, I don't know about all that." And then I finally did it, and I was like, "Oh, this is it." Like, what? Yeah.
Well, I think
Yep.
when we went out the first time together, I think we went door knocking. I made a sale off a door knock, and so I think that kind of was like, all right, well, maybe it does work.
Yeah, maybe this does work. So I was like, yeah, dude. So it was, yeah, but anyone thinks that they don't want to door knock, it's too nervous, or I definitely do it, because I was one of those people that just want to sit behind the desk, and I'm never gonna do this. So, but
Yep. So the next thing I want to talk about is obviously leads, right? Lead spend is always the important topic that you should be understanding or grasping for yourself, because you got to have opportunity, right? Unless you're going out like our boy Jake, just cold door knocking doors, which I don't necessarily recommend, but if you ain't got no money to spend leads, you can go do. But like with us having access to these age mortgage protection leads, we have the opportunity to buy 3 month to 9 month old leads, 10 month to I think it's 24 month, and then 24 month to like 48. So basically 3 months to 9 months, 1 year to 2 year, 2 to 3 year old leads. With those 3 to 9 month leads being $8 if you buy more than 100 of them, or they're $11 if you buy less than 100 of them. And I believe Jared had told us that we got pretty close to becoming an agency partner with LeadCo, the company that we get them through. So if all of us continue to start buying these leads, we can probably get them even cheaper, is what Cheryl was explaining to us. But I wanted you guys just to talk about like how much on average would you say that you guys are spending on leads in a month? If you had a guess, if you don't know.
I mean, in a month, I'd say probably like 1,000.
So a
What we do,
thousand dollars.
because what we
Yeah,
do,
I was gonna
Kinda
say
say the
like
same.
6 to 9. Yeah, like 6 to 9.
yeah. I mean, because the leads, you kind of go where the leads are. So, I mean, sometimes you're just picking up tier twos, they're like about 450 a pop. Sometimes you're picking up all tier one. Like this time I picked up all tier ones. So they were a little bit more expensive. But I'd say about 1,000 is a pretty good start, like 300 bucks a week, something like that, 250, 300.
Which
Um,
is insanely low.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna write minimum 5K. I mean,
Yep.
in a minimum.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good ratio. Of course, it depends if you're doing tier ones, tier twos, tier threes. But I'd say that's a good start. I mean, when I first started, I was buying them through the Heartland website, and I was paying $12 a lead. Um, and I would buy about 40 at a time. So I was paying 480. So I was paying a lot more, but so that was about like 1,600 a month. So it kind of just depends on which leads you're buying. But I'd say, I
Yeah.
mean, somewhere around there, like 900 to 1,200.
And I wanted you guys to hear that because that's what I think is so valuable about these leads is the cost of them and then how much you can spend in a month or on a weekly basis. Yeah, you might have to go drive 2 hours or 3 hours. Lauren drove 3 hours the other weekend to door knock 20 doors. You can't teach someone to do that. That came from inside. But she's different. She's a winner. And we can all adapt that same winner mentality, but you got to have that from within inside. And she's in a smaller rural area, but she's not allowing that to be an excuse. She'll drive 3 hours to go work leads. So the ROI on these leads, you guys, is incredible. And that's why I wanted these guys to share about it because I've seen what they've done these past couple months with these and the amount of business that they're writing. We don't need to write 20, 30, 40K in a month. It's great to write that. You're cash flowing like a mug. But if you're spending $1,000 a month and earning $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, that's a hell of a return on what you're putting in. I used to be spending 10 grand a month on leads, to be completely transparent with you guys, on brand new $80 mortgage protection leads. But I would be writing 20 to 30 to 35,000 in a month, which the ROI was there. So it made sense, right? But we've really found a source that everyone on this call can afford. I can't tell all you guys to go get $80 brand new mortgage protection leads. Like it just doesn't make sense for majority of you guys. And it's the same lead as what you're buying. It's 3 months, 9 months, a year old. And that was a good point that you brought up is tier ones and tier twos. I know you guys love the tier twos where some
Yeah.
people don't even want to touch those. But can
Yeah.
you just kind of talk about your approach on the phone, a quick introduction of how you start the phone call on those? Just give us some more insight on the tier twos and why you guys think they're valuable.
I mean, I like the tier twos because you're coming in like replacing stuff. I mean, that's most of my business on the tier twos. You're replacing stuff. You're talking to buyers, people that have already bought it, people that know the process, people that know exactly what's going on. So it's not like you're holding somebody's hand for the first time. So, I mean, since they're a little older, I come at them. I'm like, hey, Gage,
Yeah.
or ring, ring, hey, Gage. And I do third person. I picked this up from Cass Carter.
Love
I
it.
used to do like my own, just like, hey, I'm the manager here, but I still do the manager, but hey, I'm Christian here from the Mortgage Protection Office, giving you a call through the loan through Presto Home Loans with an original loan amount of 676,000. Is that correct?
Yeah. What is this about?
This is the mortgage protection document you sent through looking for information. I understand it's been some time. I do apologize, but we like to make it up to you. So if you got like sick, like cancer, heart attack, stroke, even passed away, it'd pay off your mortgage. That's what you were looking for, right?
Yeah, I believe I was looking for that. Yeah.
Awesome. And then you just kind of go back into confirming the information, their date of birth,
Yep.
Tobacco or not, the address, and you just set the appointment.
The soft close is money, you guys. That's what you're looking for, right? And it's a yes or no question at that point in time. Like you're not trying to convince them or whatever. Like you pretty much have piqued their interest very quickly. And I think you talk about what it does, right? It helps pay off the home in the event of you getting sick, becoming disabled, or passing away. That's what you're looking for, right? Well, that does sound like something I should be looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
people
something I
people
should be
say it.
looking
They're like, well, that does sound pretty interesting. I was like, well, you send in a card looking for it, but I don't say that. But yeah, it is interesting. Alex will be out
for.
there Saturday and Sunday, which works best for you. Um, and I like the third person approach because it's very easy to deflect. So it's like, well, how much is this going to cost, or what's this or that? Hey, look, I might sound like I know a lot, John, but to be honest, I'm just the appointment setter. I don't really know a whole lot. Alex is a licensed agent. He'll be able to take care of you. He has some appointments, some availability here, here, and here. Which one works best for you?
Bingo.
Jared, nobody's said that yet, so we'll see, man. Hopefully, nobody says anything like that. But I haven't been called out for sounding like Alex and Christian. Worst case, I mean, my middle name's Christian, so we're like, sorry, when I'm in the office, I'm Christian, and on the field, I'm Alex.
I love it, dude. Love it.
No, and
And but
go ahead.
I think too that people are like getting like off of the tier twos. Like I'm not just dialing them, and people are just picking up these phones. Like I've set many appointments, going knocking on the people, haven't got a hold of them. They're home, set an appointment like 2 days later. Go over there, leave a note, get a call back, come back for an appointment. Like these aren't just, yeah, we're gonna book our appointments, but there's been a majority of appointments too, as well as where I'm knocking, meeting them first face to face, and then coming back and doing an appointment.
I like that approach. I mean, if I'm knocking, I mean, I'll feel them out. But if they're not, like, if they're busy, I'm like, hey, look, I'm very busy myself as actually helping someone down the street. I just want to come introduce myself. So you know who I am. I'm actually gonna be back in the area tomorrow and the next day. You still working like a 9 to 5, and you just go to set the appointment.
Yep. And I just think that it doesn't matter if it's 3 months old, 7 months old, a year and a half old, 2.5 years old. Eh, You're talking about someone's biggest asset, something that's very valuable to them. All you have to do is try to pique curiosity, pique interest to have that type of conversation. And so I think they're all valuable. Anything that you can obviously get your hands on, and the cost of them are so low with the potential of $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 sale off of a $8 or $4 lead.
I
Now,
mean,
the
I like.
last thing,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I
No,
was
you go
just saying, I
ahead.
like the tier twos, especially if you're new. You buy 100, it's like $400. You close one. I mean, and odds are you'll close one if you work hard enough. You close one, you're in the green. After that, it's just money on top. So it's an easy way to like have a low cost investment, get a bunch of leads in the beginning. That's what I'd recommend in the beginning, and then maybe go into the tier ones or newer leads.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that. I
Oh, and
mean,
then Jason, the home office, man. I know it sounds weird. I used to not say it either. The mortgage protection office, but for whatever reason, it works. I would just try and find a local like office sharing or like a co-working place in your area and just say you work out from there. Like, don't tell people you work from home. I mean, at least I wouldn't. I always reference an office. Luckily, I'm in Sacramento, so there's the One Life office here. I'm here now, but this is the office I reference. I'm like, oh, it's the office off North Gate, and then I just move on. And usually, the more you spend time on it, the more it'll be a problem. So just don't even acknowledge whatever they say when it comes to that.
Yeah, you just roll right over it, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
exactly.
got you.
And I would say too, as well, as like if you guys are gonna buy them, you're gonna need at least you know, I'm not gonna tell you right now you're gonna buy 30 leads and you're gonna hit those sales on them. You're not. So I'm always buying anywhere from like 60 to 70 every time. And sometimes I'll mix like half, now especially I can do a little bit more of like the tier ones. I'll do half tier ones and then I'll fill in with the tier twos. Or I'll grab like 20 tier ones and I'll fill it with the rest tier twos. But don't think you're gonna grab 10 tier one leads and like, oh, I'm gonna 10 it. No, it's not gonna happen. So I think that people need to be really aware about that too. Like
It's
you
still
should
a
have,
lead. Yeah.
yeah,
Leads are
you
leads.
should have anywhere 60 to like 70 leads.
100%. Our man Jared Lindsay is a local guy all across the United States.
Yep.
I mean, it's all about the confidence and how you say it. But the last thing I wanted to touch on, because us three and Michaela and Sage had went down and taken a travel trip down to San Diego, and obviously we had some weather issues and things, so we had to cut the trip short. But can you guys just talk about that experience? You know, I think Lauren has paid dividends from spending some travel trips with Jared. Seaburger's done the same thing. I know Jay Jump's done the same thing. I know Marcus Dowell's done the same thing with Jared Lindsay when he's done these travel trips with his group. Can you guys just talk about, like, you know, going somewhere where you're not familiar with, getting in a Airbnb with like-minded individuals, with other people who've done it before? Can you guys just talk about that experience? Because we get a list, you guys, of the whole United States. And I just shared it in the group chat. I'll share it in the Slack channel here soon. But you can literally go anywhere in the United States, buy leads, and go pick up some clients. I have clients all over the place. I used to spend half the damn month out in Seattle, Washington. Can you just talk about that a little bit, and being able to have the opportunity to travel somewhere? I know Lauren loves it. She loves to travel places, but you guys had never done it before. And obviously we stayed in California, but we went from Northern California to Southern California. Can you just talk about, more or less, it's not even necessarily the results, but more of the impact in getting in the same room and spending time together, learning more about mortgage protection? Can you guys talk about your experience a little bit?
Yeah, I'll take it first, Valdo. I think, well, first and foremost, it makes you go to work. Like, you're not just gonna be there chilling and like, because if you're not gonna go to work with the other people are gonna go to work, and you're gonna not be the person that doesn't
Odd
want to
man
go to
out.
work. So, and especially like I gotta get something out while I'm here. So I think that's just the mentality it already puts you in. Is like you got to go to work. You need to go out there for no reason. So I would say that that's probably one of the biggest things that I took from it is getting yourself out of that bubble shelter that you're used to being, or your backyard. Getting nervous. Shoot, I hate driving, but best believe I was out there driving. There's no way I'm not gonna try to resolve these. So it definitely just gets you out of that bubble shelter, and then you're not only talking with one person when you have a sale or something need to go through. You're able to huddle up and like discuss it fully and get 5 different perspectives. And I think we came up with that little script or whatever we're kind of using now there. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely helpful.
And if you just share your experience, Valdo, with it, because I got something to say
Yeah. Yeah, the
afterward.
collaboration. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I mean, I'm sure hopefully most of you guys have gone to an event. I mean, if you're within your first year or even at all, you should for sure go to an event, whether it be like a sales training or a conference, anything like that. That's what it reminded me of when everybody gets Airbnb together, just the energy in the room. Everybody's on the same goal, everybody's on the same mission. We're all there for like work. And just having that environment makes it very, very good. I mean, I love it. Me and Beto, we're out here in SAC, but it's like, we're not like in a room full of people that are all excited and doing what we're doing. So anytime we do get that opportunity, it just feels amazing. I love it. So anytime you can get around people, highly recommend it. If you do a travel trip, conference, whatever it is, that's what it made me feel like. So it just felt great.
I love that, because the impact that you take away from it, right? It's an investment to buy a flight. It can be an investment to purchase leads. It can be an investment to, pay for a portion of an Airbnb. But what it is, you guys, is it's a tax write-off, first of all. So yeah, you're spending the money, but yeah, you're keeping more money at the end of the year by taking a trip to go get better. And I think that really the collaboration and the raising tides raises all ships approach happens when you're in an environment around other people doing the same grind, the same hustle, the same grind. And and then when you see someone that you're staying with or someone you just met go make a sell, like it's the energy, you're so excited for that person and you're cheering each other on. Then you can go have dinner together, have break bread and breakfast together and just reflect on your day. We spent evening, and you guys have seen it now. I hope you've seen it, at least the mortgage protection video that I did with those guys was at that San Diego Airbnb. I just wanted to make it a point of emphasis, and I know damn well both Beto and Valdo took things away from that presentation, applied them right away, and made sales. So if you guys can kind of just talk about that, and we'll get this wrapped up, as I know it's went a little bit long.
Yeah,
but-
just that little intro. We're getting back to you about the mortgage through Presto Home Loans with the original loan on 676,000. And then just the way you're looking for the cancer, heart attack, stroke, you got passed away. That's the kind of coverage you're looking for. That soft close, whatever it is, dude, it's just magic. It just works. Like people, yeah, that's what I was looking for. And then you already got them to say yes. You got them confirm the mortgage. They're saying yes there. You haven't confirmed the date of birth. They're saying yes there. Dude, you got 3 yeses before you even get into it. So just the odds of them saying yes to an appointment is a lot higher. I mean, I've just noticed my appointment ratio going up a lot more since that just little question. That's it.
Just a little thing to add in, right? And to be honest with you guys, I wasn't the one who made that up. I stole it from a guy who was selling $900,000 a year in mortgage protection. It's this whole business is all about rip and duplicate. Take away something, make it your own. Take away from something, make it your own. And everything works a little bit, right? But I think that when you take advice from people who've done it before, don't ever question that. Like, I'm never going to tell you to do something or say something I would never do or not say. Now, it may be really awkward and uncomfortable for you to say it the first time or two, or doing it a time or two. But once it works, you're going to do it every single time. You better believe Beto is going to be throwing out, I could get you about 50,000 in coverage for $10 a month, because he got a sale off of it as soon as he used that. So just getting in the room with others, I think is really big. And I seen Tasha, to your point down there in the chat. What I was going to say is what my plan is I want to do at least a quarterly travel trip each quarter throughout the year. It's a weekend trip. And, you can make $10,000, $15,000 on a successful trip in a weekend. Jared Lindsay does it all the time. The dude was in like Philadelphia last weekend, door knocking. Like, you can go anywhere in the country and do this. And that's what was exciting to me. I've been down to Tampa. I've run business in Tampa. I've been to Arizona. I've run business out there. I've been to San Diego twice now. I've been up to the Northern California area. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Kansas City. Like, you can go to these cities that maybe you want to visit. And that's what I've always told Lauren is, like, anywhere you want to go, you can go. You just need a license and some leads, and you can go make some money. But we are actually having one if anyone's interested. I know it's a very short turnaround time, but we're going to Kansas City. Let me see what those dates are. We're going to Kansas City in 2 weeks, the 21st through the 24th. And it's probably going to be the last one of the year, just unfortunately with Medicare. And I know a lot of our focus and mindset is going to shift over to that. And organizing it on our end is just not going to be reasonable. So we'll definitely do another one in January, because I know obviously it was a short turnaround time, but for this one, but I really, really want to do a big travel trip with a group of 6 to 10 individuals every quarter. So every 3 months somewhere. So it gives us something to be excited for, something to look forward to, and giving you the opportunity to get into the room. So we'll continue to do those because they're just successful, to be honest with you guys. And the only way you're not successful is if you don't put in the work at the end of the day. But any last parting words, you guys? I know we went a little bit long here on this one, but it's just some good points, and I wanted to hear from both of them because they made this transition together ultimately and been buying leads and splitting leads. And that's the other thing too, is find someone you can run with. I know Valdo and Beto push each other and just keep each other accountable. and working forward. So find an accountability buddy. You know what I mean? It's so important to have somebody like that. You know, Jared has always been a blessing for me because he always keeps me pushing and wanting to get better. The dude's damn near, I mean, he's will run circles around me now. You know what I mean? That's cool. That I wanted that. I want him to be better than me. I don't want to be better than him because he came in and we equipped him with the skill set and he got obsessed with this and now he loves it. And that's the same thing we want to do for you as well. We want you to be better than what we are. We're not trying to keep anybody down here. And so, any last parting words or anything you'd like to say, or hindsight looking back on where you started or where you're at, or anything that you could provide to someone who's out there struggling right now?
Reach out if you're struggling. I definitely reach out. You're probably thinking too much. I do it too. So reach out to people, get your thoughts out there, have someone else kind of diagnose what you're doing, and just accept the truth. Don't lie to yourself. I mean, if you're like, it's the leads or it's this or that, it's always us. It's always going to be us. And so that's what I love about it. So go figure out what you're doing wrong, what you could be doing better. Maybe you're not doing anything. Maybe you just a little tweak. I just reach out. I mean, that's my biggest advice.
Love it. What about you, Beto?
I would say don't be as comfortable. Like I was very comfortable just sitting behind the desk. Kept buying so many leads, thinking it was gonna change, or the leads were gonna change, and just try something new. It's not gonna hurt. You could always go back to what you're already used to. And if not, you might find a new niche, some that you get good at. So don't be scared to jump in and try it. Meet people face to face. Because regardless, you can go back on the phone and do the same thing or even be better from it. So.
Appreciate that. If you guys got any value out of today's call from Beto and Valdo, drop a BV in the chat for these guys just to show them some love. You know, they didn't have to do this. They're taking time out of their day to give back to you. And I hope that you just take away one piece of nugget that they shared here, you guys.
So pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage.